Hello, welcome to the 29th episode of All Sports Talk. I'm Patrick Gary.
I'm Kyle Esposito.
Here we have marathon winner.
Mike. Hi, what's going on? Thank you all so much for having me. I'm really excited to be part of the show today.
Thank you for coming on. So the first question I have is, why did you decide to run the marathon?
It's a great question. One, I think just running the 50th anniversary of the marathon was a really, really cool idea. Two of my friends were already doing it, and I also realized that it was the anniversary of the passing of my cousin who passed away from cancer, and they have a team called Fred's Team that raises money and awareness for cancer and research. So I paired up with that team to run and raise money for them and kind of do it in my cousin Dimitri's name. So it was a kind of win-win on a whole bunch of fronts.
Yeah, that's awesome. You ran for him.
Yeah.
So when you were running, did you get a runner's high? And if so, what mile was that at?
That's actually a really good question. There were a couple times where there's like in the marathon, because it's so long, there's a lot of ups and downs. Definitely in the beginning, the adrenaline kind of hits you. It's not like just running around on your own. There's so many people just like as spectators who are screaming, cheering you on, and there's live bands that are playing on certain points too. It's pretty crazy. So I would say that the runner's high definitely came almost immediately in the beginning just because of the adrenaline rush. And then it kind of hit you again at the 13th mile mark, as you were kind of starting to decrease, because after the 6th mile, I mean, speaking from my experience, I mean, there are certain other runners that would just cruise right through. But for me, after maybe the 6th mile, I started to slow the pace down a little bit and kind of cruise. And then once the 13th mile hit, I actually hit like a really good kind of runner's high energy burst. And that carried me through till the 19th mile, which that was miserable, but I'll get to that later.
Okay. How did you feel when you crossed the finish line?
Oh God, thank God it's over. It was really crazy. Crossing the finish line was such a great feeling. It was actually funny because I got double leg cramps on the last mile. So my legs were literally locked straight. And you start to get like at a certain point too, where like dehydration hits, you get double leg cramps. So you're like really struggling on that last mile. And I turned around and I just heard my name being screamed. And I turned around and it was my fiance, Caitlin. And she was just like, run. And I was like, okay. So just kind of like Forrest Gumped it the rest of the way with splint legs. And I crossed the finish line, and one of the coaches at the school that I work at, I didn't know was working the marathon, and he actually caught me crossing the finish line. So, oh my God, I didn't know you were running, but it was a great feeling to cross. I mean, obviously it's super humbling to just even compete and just run the marathon, and just after you cross it, it's just a great feeling of like all the training and the 26 miles, and you actually put 26 miles underneath your feet. It was a really cool experience. It was really, really cool.
What borough was the easiest to run in? What borough was the hardest to run in?
Man, great question. Bay Ridge, or I should say Bay Ridge, Brooklyn was I would say the easiest because it was the beginning. But also too specifically, Bay Ridge was the easiest. One, because it was the start, and two, because that's where I'm from. That's where I saw the most people. So you're already kind of like hyped up. You're running through. It was really, really easy. And for the most part, like, I don't think there was a lot of elevation in terms of like hills. So that was pretty good. I thought that Brooklyn was pretty decent. Once you got into the Williamsburg area, it started getting hard because now you're starting to get up on your miles there. And that was a little difficult. But like toward the beginning of Brooklyn was pretty easy in terms of just cruising. And then once you hit First Avenue, it really starts to set in. That, all right, this is going to suck. This is miserable. And then when you're crossing over the bridge into the Bronx, that's the worst. That sucks. That's like, it's bad. You saw like, I saw people like, it was almost like, you like the show The Walking Dead? It was like that. Like when you come across the bridge, you start seeing people, like some people are just walking, but their legs are just like crazy shaking. Some people just off to the side, like just stretching. It's like a point on that bridge where there's no fans. It's like the first area where there's like no spectators really. So you go from like this crazy energy running on like First Avenue through the city, and like it's nuts. You can't even hear yourself speak. At one point, you kind of just turn your headphones off because there's no point. You're just like listening to the crowd hype you up. And it goes from like deafening, just hyping you up, to then like nothing. And like you're miserable and you're running up a bridge that's like this high and the hill is steep that's high. That sucked. That was bad. That took lives. I think that was a miserable one. That
Yeah,
took
I
like
would have thought Staten Island was the easiest to run in because you're just like running over the bridge.
Staten Island wasn't bad. I would kind of, you're right. I would put that in with the beginning of Brooklyn because you're just starting off to Staten Island. You're just kind of running right over the bridge. So like literally, and also if you think about it, in theory, the Bronx would be easy too, because if you look at the map, you're literally just touching the Bronx. Like you're taking a couple steps in the Bronx and then just turning right around and going back into the city. But because it's after that bridge, it's miserable. And then the bridge going back is miserable. Like that point there, even though it's such a short distance, it's just at the point that you're running it, it's crazy.
When practicing for the marathon, how many miles would you run in preparation?
Great question. Being that it was my first marathon, I definitely could have trained a little bit better. The most that I ran was 18 miles. I tried to run as true as I could to the actual course because they give you an idea of what the course is going to be ahead of time. So I ran 18 miles because that was also the advice I was given from my friends who are, crazy great at running and doing marathons. And I know one of my friends is that from work ran 15 marathons. So he was telling me like, well, if it's your first one, you don't have to run more than 18 miles. Like you should do your stretch. I think in the future, when I try to run again, I'll definitely bump up the mileage in training and maybe go for like 22 miles because it was just too long of a stretch to go from 18 miles to then 26. Like adrenaline helps for sure. Like day of, everyone's screaming and whatnot. And especially too, when you write, they give you shirts and they tell you to write your name on your shirt so people can see your shirt as you're running and random people know your name and you're yelling your name. It's really, really cool. Kind of getting off topic, but the nicest people ever are people that know nobody running the marathon, but just show up to cheer people on. I think is just so crazy. Shout out to them. Really, really appreciate them. But no matter how great the adrenaline was, it was too large of a reach for me to go from 18 miles to then now 26. It's just an extra 8 miles that I'm not used to. So I think for the next one, I'll bump it up.
Will you ever run the New York Marathon again?
Mm-hmm. I don't think next year. I don't think this coming year, 2022, but I think 2023, I'm going to run it again. It's funny because if you asked me right after I crossed the finish line, I'd say, hell no, never again. I'm never doing this to myself. But then you kind of look at your time and you're like, oh man, like I think I could do better than that. Actually, the biggest one that was like, I'm definitely doing this again is someone said, oh, you weren't that far behind Tiki Barber. And I was like, what? And I looked up and I was 4 minutes behind Tiki Barber. So hopefully Tiki Barber runs a marathon again.
You gotta beat him.
And I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but I'm definitely gonna run again in 2023.
So you were saying before, like people just like watching, like high-fiving the New York Marathon. Did you high-five anyone back? And if so, who did you high-five?
I actually high-fived a lot of people. I definitely stopped at certain points to say hi to people. Like I said hi to my fiance, Kate, her family, my family. And by stopping, not necessarily like stopping, having like a full-fledged conversation, but stopping for a second, giving a quick hug, saying hi and then leaving. Like it took like all of like 2 or 3 seconds, but it was really cool. There was a lot of people, like little kids that were off and they were like trying to high five a lot of the marathoners. So I tried to get as much as them as I can. At one point I looked like a psychopath because the kids were on like both sides. So I was kind of like weaving between sides trying to get everyone. Once I hit mile 19, I think I just blacked out at that point. So at that point I was just running straight, trying not to drag my face on the floor. But up until then, I was trying to like zigzag and get as many kids as I could.
That's funny. Yeah. No, because I thought you were gonna say me because you high-fived me when you were coming down.
I did.
Bay
I
Ridge.
did. Yeah, you were one of the first people I saw. It was you,
Yeah.
Juliana. I saw you were the first people I saw right in front of Clavins.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was the best. That was the highlight because that was such a big group of people. You and my parents had a big group coming right off the Staten Island, coming right out of Staten Island into Brooklyn off the bridge, which was really cool. But then Clavins, that group was huge. You guys had so many people with you, and that was so. I really appreciate you actually coming out. That was awesome. That was so awesome.
Yeah, we'll definitely come out next time you're running it.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, man.
Do you have any advice for someone thinking about running the marathon? What were some good tips on running the marathon?
Oh man, great question. For running the marathon, I guess my first and foremost question was don't be too intimidated. I know a lot of people like after finishing are like, it sucks. This it was brutal, this, that, and the other. But honestly, it's very doable. It's super humbling. I don't think anybody should be intimidated by doing it. If you have any, kind of interest in it, then I would definitely do it. Cause it was everybody, it didn't matter. There was one point at mile 22, I had nothing left and I was dying. And I'm not kidding. When a 75-year-old woman just cruised past me and like tapped me on the back and was like, keep going, Mike, you got this. And passed me. And I was like, oh my God. So honestly, it was just, it's a crazy humbling experience, but I think that there's no, like, even people who are like, I don't really run, or, I haven't ran in a while. It's all right. Honestly, just start off slow. Just try to put some miles under your feet and the rest will come. You don't have to like come out of the gate like I had never run before and the next day you're running 18 miles. It doesn't work like that. Just run a mile, run 2 miles, do a run walk too, just stay consistent as much as you can with it. And that's it. Just try and put as much as you can. Also rest and hydrate. That's huge. Hydrate so you don't cramp up. But that's the biggest thing. Just don't be too intimidated by the marathon because as crazy hard as it is, it's very, very doable. And I think the feeling of accomplishment that you get after is amazing.
It's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, in my running program, I tried to every week add 2 miles on. So I would have like shorter runs through the week, especially with work. It's hard. Like who can, like a lot of times, like if you're working like a full-time job, like how are you going to like get, like, it's hard to get up in the morning and run 2 hours. To run 20 minutes is not bad, but to run like 2 hours is kind of hard. So I would do like smaller runs, like more like 6-mile runs, 8-mile runs during the week. And then and we'll sprinkle like maybe some 2-mile runs. And then on the weekend would be like the big run where I would start off at 10 miles would be the big run. Then the next week I tack on 12 miles. The next week you tack on 14, the next week 16 until I got to 18. And then I just kept trying to cruise at 18 as much as I can. But now in hindsight, next time I train, I'll probably add on 20, add on 22. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it was really, really cool experience for sure.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So how long did it actually take you to, well, scratch that. How long were you training for this marathon? Because you said that you did it, like how you said you're doing it during the weekdays and then weekends. You kept ramping up. How long did it take you since you started?
So, oh wow, that's a really, really great question. So we originally were supposed to run. Honestly, it's actually funny because I was registered for this marathon. I actually originally wasn't supposed to run the 50th anniversary one. I was supposed to run the one before because everything happened with COVID. It was postponed.
Yeah.
So with that happening, I started training. If we're running in November, I started training almost like February, March of the year before, or the same year, February, March of the same year. I started just like easing into it because again, I wasn't used to running. I'm not a runner, so I was really just kind of getting used to it. Then when they postponed it to this year and then going back to work, it was a little tougher. I kind of took a break from training, which was a mistake, especially trying to get back into the swing of things at work. And I really started training more over the summer.
Okay.
And then trying to get as much as I can through the summer. And then the same thing once work hit again, because I work at a school. So once September hit, I was right back at the school. So hours were a little bit more restricted too. But it was, yeah, I pretty much started again training for this marathon in like May or June of this year, May, June 21 for the November. But yeah, so it was, I mean, it kind of eased into it. I had a friend that trained 2 months for the marathon and he
Oh
did
my
great.
gosh.
And he did great. Literally just kind of someone just threw him a bid and he was like, yeah, sure, I'll try it. Like, oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Try it. Yeah, just get him
Yeah,
to
of
try it.
course.
It's awesome. And he did great. So, but yeah, just like I said before, I mean, it's different for everyone. My advice would be, if you're not a runner per se, to maybe give yourself a little bit more time to ease into it. You know, take your breaks. This way, it's, you know, each of those weeks doesn't have to be like a crushing yourself with miles. It can be, all right, I run like 2 miles every other day, and on the other days I'm resting, I'm stretching, I'm making sure that I'm doing other exercises just so I'm not getting all those aches and pains, because running hurts. It
Yeah.
hurts. Your knees, your hips, everything starts to ache. So it's good to also get like the exercise portion on the same end, you know. But that was a great question. That was awesome.
Also, were there any like friends that you started at the race with that you were kind of running with and then just eventually just lost each other?
Another great question. We all started. So I ran with 3 friends. One friend, the way it works is depending on the time that you're thinking of running in, you're put in different heats. So
Okay.
one of my friends was predicting that he was going to run a little bit slower. So he was behind us. So he had a later start time. And me and my other friend started at the same time. But because all of my friends are really competitive and we kind of like running alone, it was more of just like no, every man for himself.
Yeah,
Like
everyone. Yeah.
we're just going at it type deal. But I have, with training, I've run with them before. You know, I think some people are different. Some people like running and talking with somebody. It depends on like what your goal is for the marathon. I mean, my goal literally, I didn't really care about the time. I just wanted to finish. Now I think the next one I'll run, I'll be a little bit more conscious on time. But depending on your goal, a lot of people just like, oh, I'm just going to run with someone and talk and just we're going to cruise. And other people are just want to like put my headphones in, vibe, and try to finish as fast as I can. But no, for me, it was the put my headphones in and I was running alone and trying to catch up to my friends with, eventually I couldn't hit them with a rock from freshman. But it was really, really cool. It was cool.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like next time when like they ask like what time you think you're gonna be, just be like, winning it. I think I'm gonna win it. Yeah.
Did I tell you, your uncle Anthony called me the day before the marathon. It was like, oh, Mikey, no pressure here, but if you win, we get $100,000. Like, oh, no pressure at all. No, none at all. And I was like, listen, if you keep a secret and like distract people, I'll hop off and get on the R train. I'll take the train all the way up the west side. And he's like, you got it, no problem. And then we'll split it 50-50. I was like, yeah.
Distract everyone in the marathon.
Yeah.
Cross line, be like, winner.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just go like, lift the tape for me. Let me go on there.
Yeah.
Meet me at the finish line. Lift the tape for me again, and I'll finish.
10,000 right here.
That's it. Finish in an hour, 45 minutes. It'd be great.
Yeah. It's funny.
That's it. I have them pour some water on me so it looks like I'm sweating before.
Yeah.
Thought of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, good times. So yeah, next time I'll say winning for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool though. The whole thing was really, really cool with the marathon, and especially having everyone come out and seeing Pat, you and your family there too. It was really, really, really cool. And every person I've spoke to that's run the marathon, I said the same thing. Like that's like the coolest part is when like you cross and you see your friends and family and they're all cheering you on and hyping you up. It's a really cool experience. I definitely recommend it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe next year we'll like meet up in the city. Because
Mhm.
I was supposed to go, but then I found like I didn't know you guys were going to like a bar restaurant, and
Mhm.
like I'm not 21, so like I didn't want to like go and like ruin it for everyone else.
No,
I
no,
couldn't
no.
go. So, but
Nah.
but I'll be 21 next time running. So like I'll go with you guys.
That's it. I look forward
Yeah.
to it. I look forward to it for sure. That's it. Honestly, I didn't want to say anything, but that's why I'm doing it in 2023 and not next year for that specific reason. I was like,
really?
I can't do it. That's not going to be 21. I can't
Yeah.
run next year. So I'm gonna
No.
do it.
We'll let someone else win it. All right, but then like 2023 all mine.
Yeah. Well, you have to build the drama towards it, right? Like you
Oh,
have
yeah.
to let people
Exactly.
win, feel good, whole song and dance. And then now it's like, oh, Mike Cunningham coming out of the woodwork,
Out of
Well,
retirement.
out of retirement.
Out of retirement
Yeah,
to run the marathon.
that's it.
Defending the honor.
The script writers are going crazy.
Yeah. Sports sector going crazy. Man.
Oh man. But yeah, but that was actually one of the cooler components too about the marathon was the signs. People had some like really funny signs. People got really creative with it. Like I saw, and some of them were like very mean too. Like you keep going, you're nowhere even close. Another one was a person had like a picture of Dory and just said like just keep running, like just keep swimming.
Yeah.
There were some really, really creative signs. It was really, really cool. People had like blow up pictures of like whoever they were supporting to run, like life size blow up pictures. Crazy. It was really, really cool. Yeah.
We're gonna do a one of Run Mike Run and have a picture of Forrest Gump there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We'll do it 2023. Run Mike Run, the champ.
The Run Mike Run, the champ.
Be like, no. The champ is here, and have like a picture of you. And when you're up, we're just like hold it. No, hand it to you right before you cross.
There you go.
And just hold it when you cross the finish line.
There you go. That works.
That's what we gotta do.
And I think that's doable. I was actually surprised how close Kate and my friends and Juliana were to like where the finish line was. Like it was only like a half mile left and they were right there. So yeah, I'll just grab the sign and I'll just run with it over my head. So
have the fence just start running with you.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Like, you got a streaker in the marathon.
There you go. Or we could all just share a bib. Like hop over, I give you my bib. You run a half mile.
Oh yeah.
Jumps over, give her the bib. She runs a half mile.
Yeah. Be like we're all Mike Cunningham. We're all Mike Cunningham.
There you go. It's a team effort.
Yeah, exactly. Team effort.
Yep. But yeah, good stuff. These are some really awesome questions. Listen, thank you so much for having me. This was so cool and such a great experience, and awesome. I mean, as soon as Pat asked me to be on, I was jumping at the chance. This is really, really cool. This is really cool.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Please, it's an honor, an absolute honor. Can't wait to be on here in 2023.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
2-time champ Mike Cunningham, 2023.
2 times.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment.